Ladies and gentlemen, hello there and welcome to the Fightful NXT Takeover Wargames post-show. Welcome everyone, I am Mr. Warren Hayes, sitting in for Sean Ross Sapp this evening. Sean is making sure that he can get into that essential, top-notch, number one important media call with Triple H. I'm being facetious here. It is cool that he gets to be there, so we don't want to miss out on that. So that's why I'm here, making sure that we're able, nonetheless, to talk about everything we saw tonight on this fantastic show here on Fightful, on the YouTube channel of Fightful Wrestling. Leave a, if you want to help us out, if you want to support us right now, leave a like to the video. Later on, or even right now, leave some comments. This kind of stuff helps us out tremendously and helps the videos go forward, helps the channel, boosts everyone. And your support on Fightful Select as well helps the show or everything that we do here at Fightful even more directly. It helps everyone who does stuff for Fightful. We got a bunch of stuff over there, including Sour Graps, and that's why heading over to Fightful Select helps, because it helps Alex Pulowski, who's with me here, do his weekly show, Sour Graps. But tonight we are not sour grapping all that much, aren't we, Alex?
No, there's not a lot to sour grap tonight. As always, I reserve the right to sour grap about what happened tonight if they don't follow up on it or they botch all the pushes they should be giving people. But currently, I am grapless. I am sour grapless.
See, the way I see what we're going to be doing tonight, Alex, is you setting up a bunch of potential material for Sour Graps. Yeah. It's going to be like a whole teaser of stuff. It'll be fantastic. So at FightfulSelect.com, you go check that out. Subscribe. Like I said, you have Alex who's there. You have Steven Jensen, who takes over all sorts of non-WWE programming as well. Sean does a bunch of stuff. He does Q&A sessions with about 150,000 questions a session. It's amazing. Go check that out. And if you guys and gals here in the chat live here tonight, if you have a question, you can drop us a super chat and we'll read your question or comment or statement on air, such as DJ Cass, who just left us a super chat. It says, how great is that pay-per-view? How great is it that a pay-per-view, actually ends early? Well, I mean, right, Alex? This has been the formula of NXT's for a while now. They start at 7 p.m., small amount of matches, and they usually are able to fit everything within 2.5 to 3 hours. I mean, this is something that we're used to by now, but I agree with DJ Cass. It always feels nice.
Oh, it's always very nice. I like that a lot. There was some consternation that it might change with the new, format of them being a third and equal brand. Well, that means we've got to do our pay-per-views differently. But they've always had 5 matches, and the matches always get enough time, but rarely too much. And so it's perfect. There's not like, oh, well, that was quick and pointless. Everything's got a nice build to it, and everything was great. But if you're going to bookend a 4-match show, and those 2 matches that are bookending it are War Games matches, you got a lot of time to spend on doing those matches. Everything else felt just the right amount of time as well.
Let's start off. We're going to start talking about the pre-show. Surprise, surprise! This time around, we ended up getting a match. Well, first and foremost, we learned on the pre-show that Mia Yim was taken out by a mystery assailant. We would soon find out who was this mysterious person who took out the HBIC. But there was a lot of concern, and it turns out as they're setting her into the ambulance, Rhea Ripley turns around or actually grabs Dakota Kai, who was accompanying Mia Yim. They had sort of formed a bond over the past couple of weeks. Dakota Kai was about to accompany Mia Yim to the hospital when Steven Regal
to the local medical center.
To the local medical center, of course. When Lord Steven William Regal was there and basically told Rhea Ripley, look, you got to make an executive decision right now because you're about to go on. She grabs Dakota Kai and says, look, it's enough. You're coming with us. Interesting little setup. I like it when they do little things like this with the pre-show. makes you want to watch because it feels like if you don't watch it, you're going to miss out on something that's important for the rest of the show.
Yeah, no, they want you to tune in to watch this. So they're going to. I think it's a wise decision to do something like this on the pre-show. The pre-shows used to be throwaway because they were taped ahead of the matches that were taped for the following Wednesday. But now Wednesday's live, so you don't get to do those taped matches before the takeover. So they had one, and they did that. But I think that was really a good decision to put it there when they did it. Also, incredibly well executed. Like even the framing of the shots where certain characters were standing, it was all really, really well done. The medical staff even looked official.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like indie wrestlers put in some uniform. It looked like they were real medics.
True.
Like all that was all well done. Regal being very, very like a businessman about it. Like he's concerned for Mia Yim, but we got a show to do. Like, and so what are you going to do? And Rhea Ripley having to be at 23 years old,
mm-hmm.
be somebody who's absolutely in charge of stuff. That's a great development for her character as well. All of this was incredibly well put together. We'll get to how the whole thing turned out, but this chapter in this story was incredibly well told. I can't say enough about how great this whole thing was all through the night.
And I agree, and it gives you, well, let's say you put that kind of show on your that kind of thing on your pre-show, makes you want to watch the rest, as we've been telling, as opposed to Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Bailey. We had a match, though, as I was starting to move into. We did have a surprise match. Isaiah Swerve Scott defeated it's the other way around. Angel Garza defeated Isaiah Swerve Scott in a fun little match, a great warm-up. There was a lot of back and forth between the both. There was that Tope con Hilo into a Hurricane Rana to the outside by Swerve, which was a little scary, but was fantastic nonetheless. There was a springboard reverse suplex by Garza, which was really, really nice. And Garza also hit another great spot where he springboarded off the top rope in what looked like a sunset bomb, but it ended up transitioning into a sit-out power bomb. That was cool as hell. Garza flies off the top rope while Scott is on the apron on the outside, and Scott catches him on his shoulders into a fireman's carry and slams him onto the apron. There was some great, great spots here, but Garza rips off his pants and wins with the wing clipper. You got to see this, Alex. What are your thoughts?
I really, really love both of these guys. I'm not a huge fan of Angel Garza's finishing move. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like putting the guy's head under your armpit and making him sit on his butt really hard is a weird finishing move when there are so many other things he could be doing. But I really love both of these guys. I really love Swerve Scott. Like I said, I've been a huge fan of his since he was Killshot in Lucha Underground, because I was a Lucha Underground mark at the time. I really love both of these guys. Their trajectory is both going upward. So it's difficult for me to watch either of these guys lose this match. But I feel like Swerve Scott's going to win a match on Wednesday and be right back on his winning track. Like these guys, I feel like are moving up the mid card, and that's good for both of them. Very entertaining match, kind of out of the blue. It would have been nice if it was like you get a future North American title shot or a future cruiserweight title shot, because both the guys are under the limit. It would have been kind of cool if there was a stakes involved. Like we picked these two rising stars and one of them's going to get a title shot, whoever wins. That might have been nice, but overall, I have no complaints. A very good match.
It was a great exhibition. It was a great match to get the audience warmed up, get us into it. It's a good idea to put it on your pre-show. But then the real show starts. The pre-show's still part of the real show. The main card.
No.
Get your act together, Warren. Team Rhea Ripley versus defeated Team Shayna Baszler in a wild match. Starts off with Io Shirai and Candice LeRae, hearkening back to their history. Io just...
Can I just say what a perfect selection for those two to start the match.
Absolutely.
They've already got so much history They had that amazing match of the year contender. Like it's perfect to sew up more of their storyline, which could, for all we know, continue beyond this match. I love that it's that they get 5 minutes alone in the double ring to shine, and Io Shirai made so much use of both rings, like more than anybody else in either War Games match. I thought it was great.
So they both hit the ring. Actually, Shirai goes in first, cackling the whole way down, and gets into it with Candice LeRae. She hits a pair of 619s on LeRae early on, and she jumps on the top rope, walks to the other one, and springboards off with a missile drop kick, which is all Io Shirai. I was kind of worried for a moment during the initial part of the proceedings here when the audience started doing the Royal Rumble countdown, where they started doing the 3, 2, 1 thing for no apparent reason. And it sort of took me back to Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. And I was hoping that wasn't going to happen, but it didn't. And you know why? Because the action in the ring was fantastic. Bianca Belair comes in next, and she hits a double underhook face crusher on Candice. Her standing shooting star press. She was fantastic out of the get-go. LeRae tries to fight back, but Belair pastes her with a forearm. And then Candice eats 2 power bombs, then gets bombed into the cage. Candice LeRae, essentially at this point, is eating crap. I'm still being careful because we don't have that much of a of a tip jar, a swear jar built up yet. But she's not having a good time right now, Alex.
No, she's this is what I love about it. I thought it was really interesting that you pick somebody like Candice LeRae, who fans of hers for years know that she's as tough as they come. But the person who goes in the ring first from the babyface side is going to be in there alone versus 2 people for a while. And that person has got to have to eat some crap. And it was nice that they said, Candice, you can handle that. Go ahead and go in there and get worked over by Bianca Belair after taking Io Shirai's best shots for 5 minutes. That was pretty cool.
Rhea Ripley is next for her team, and she spends a substantial amount of her time getting plunder into the ring. Some trash cans, some kendo sticks, a bunch of chairs. And eventually when she does get in, she starts beating up Bianca Belair. Rhea and Candice set up some chairs. They tease driving Bianca through them, but it just doesn't happen. Kaylee Ray comes in next. She gets some more chairs, excuse me. Rhea, while she was pulling out the plunder, the audience was chanting for tables. So when Kaylee Ray comes, she teases pulling out a table, but she doesn't because she's a heel, Alex.
Yeah, she's a heel. I like that. Obviously, the tables were reserved for stuff that happened in the men's match later that night. They didn't want to do too many table spots, otherwise those other ones weren't going to work. The finish of the entire show would have been lessened if there had been all kinds of tables being used in the women's match. I thought this was really well done by Kaylee Ray, but I also thought they proved last night with that amazing finish to the triple threat of Rhea Ripley how smart she is. Of being able to figure out, if I come in here, I'll get the crucifix pin on Charlotte. She can't kick out because her legs are all entwined with Sasha's. It's one of the smartest things I've ever seen a wrestler do in the moment. So you have 3 minutes when you're out there before the next person comes in to re-skew the odds, and you spend 2 of those 3 minutes tossing crap into the ring. That's not very smart, but I understand that she's, rage-filled at this moment. I just love Rhea Ripley so much. We're going to talk more about her, but she's so great right now.
I know we're going to talk more about her. There's a Tower of Doom, Alex.
Yeah, I mean,
look, I tore my shirt. This is a spare shirt that I have because I tore the one I was wearing because I've decided, Alex, that every time there's a Tower of Doom on WWE programming, I'm going to tear off a shirt, and then I'm going to send the bill to WWE. And and at some point they're going to realize that their bottom line is being affected because I'm tearing off my shirts constantly because they're constantly putting on Towers of Doom. So they're going to stop.
Well, I mean, like, I know you have the thing with the tearing the shirts, and Sean says another dove cries and whatnot. I think it's one of those things where you just have to accept they're going to do one of these in every one of these
No!
matches and move on.
No!
Move on.
No, I expect better. Towers
All
of
right.
Doom are stupid. And why does the person executing the Tower of Doom, why does that person bump, Alex? It doesn't work.
That's the one thing. If they switch that up and the person who did the Tower of Doom immediately went for pinfalls, then I'd be okay with it because they bumped everybody.
I will say
the problem
this.
with this one specifically is that Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley's own teammate, took the worst bump out of everybody. So you basically effectively eliminated her from helping you in this match for like 5 minutes.
That's because Towers of Doom are stupid. But I will say that that Bianca Belair's 450 immediately after was spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. She's so good.
Now we're oh, sorry. Finish your thought.
Go ahead. Finish.
No, I'm moving on because we're at that moment.
Yeah, please. Well, we'll talk more about the matches the whole day end.
We're at that moment.
Yeah.
Dakota Kai is next up on the list. They open up the cage. She steps out. She stops, turns around, and proceeds to, and I'm gonna do it this time. Beat the shit out of Tegan Nox. She wails on her. She slams the door against her surgically repaired knees, removes the brace. The officials come out. William Regal comes out. She attacks William Regal, who no sells, but attacks him nonetheless. And this goes on for a substantial amount of time, Alex.
Yeah.
While in the meantime, very smartly, WWE is showing us the women in the ring, and they're stunned. They don't understand what's going on.
Right.
Alex, break this down for us, but this is one of the best heel turns in recent memory, all wrestling promotions put together.
Yeah, you and I both knew this was coming. Everybody kind of saw this coming. I mean, but that's fine. It doesn't, like, the whole thing is that everything has to be a surprise from out of nowhere is stupid. Like, if it serves the narrative, there's nothing better than knowing this. Oh, man, I can't see how this is going to happen. Not, oh, that was weird. I never saw that coming. But the way that was executed was so flawless. It was just great. All the stuff from Dakota Kai, like tagging along with Rhea Ripley every time she would like go to the main roster to pick a fight. You always felt like Dakota Kai was the little sister in the back who was like, "Can I come too?" And she gets in that, they're getting an 8-woman tag, and she takes the pinfall from Nikki Cross. Like she's just losing and losing and losing. And like there was that moment where she was told, "I'm sorry, you're not good enough. You can't be on our team.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use Mia Yim." And the hurt in her eyes, like I honestly thought they were going to do a thing where she was the one who attacked Mia because she wanted to be on the team. And that's it. And she goes and she's a part of this team and whatever. And that was it. Like she wouldn't, and they would, who attacked Mia? And when it comes out that it's Dakota Kai, like she was like, "Okay, you got me, but I just wanted to be on the team. I'm still friends with you guys, right?" Because she's been such a like a Bayley figure for so long. The idea that she would turn the way she did by trying to end the career of her best friend Tegan Nox on top of everything else, not joining Team Baszler, because if she had gotten into the ring and then turned, she would have joined Team Baszler. She would have been a part of that. Mm-hmm. But she says, "No, I don't care about this stupid match. I just want to ruin it for all of you who thought I wasn't good enough to be on your stupid team." Like, you could feel the hurt and the angst within Dakota Kai. It's a completely different kind of heel turn that I'm just going to be evil now. No, I hate you specific people for screwing me over. I'm not friends with Shayna. Screw Shayna. I hate you people. You, Rhea, you, Candice, Mia, I already got rid of her, and you, Tegan, who should have had my back this whole time. When Rhea said, "I'm not on the team," you should have said, "Fine, then I'm not on the team either." That's who Dakota Kai was in this moment. It felt real. It felt visceral. I will say this. It does seem like all the baby faces who they have decided aren't going to get a real shot at beating Shayna have to turn heel. Like, Io had to turn heel. Bianca had to turn heel, although she was a tweener the whole time, but she's definitely, now she's siding with Shayna. And now Dakota Kai, who's never going to have a chance to beat Shayna. You can all be heels because we're never going to put you over as a babyface. So we'll let you have fun playing the villain for a while.
Speaking of the villain, Shayna Baszler was enjoying this so much. It was fantastic. I popped for her reactions while she was in the cage, while she was walking down the ring. Of course, the rest of the match, the story was that it was a 4-on-2. I loved Rhea Ripley stopping Kaylee Ray's tornado DDT. She went all the way down, but just stopped before actually taking the bump. I thought it was great.
After taking it before.
That's
what I love. I love Rhea. She's like, you got that on me once, bitch. You're not getting on me a second time. Like, that's how she's smart. She's not only powerful, and she's also cunning. I love that about her.
The standing clover, the dueling finishing maneuver, not finishing maneuvers, but submission maneuvers. The standing cloverleaf on one side with Rhea Ripley on one corner. Then on the opposite corner, you have the Kirifuda clutch with Shayna Baszler. I thought that was a cool spot as well. Bianca gorilla pressing Candice over the top, from one ring to the other was fantastic as well. I popped when Bianca started whipping, I think it's Rhea with her hair.
Yep.
And then Candice LeRae was like, well, I'll just go get some kendo sticks, and started wailing. Bianca's selling when she gets wailed on by kendo sticks is fantastic. Also, at some point, Io Shirai climbs up top. Candice LeRae follows her and does a poison Rana on Kaylee Ray from the top.
She took some of the best bumps. Kaylee Ray took the best bumps of this match. It was so great.
The problem was WWE production didn't give us the poison Rana. We missed it. We had to get it on replay, and that bothered me. Production was not on top of it tonight. They missed a bunch of spots. Yeah. But the match comes to an end when Rhea hits the Riptide onto some chairs on Shayna, pinning Shayna Baszler for the win. Big comeback victory from Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae, who is tougher than you. Some final thoughts, Alex?
The way the match fully ended with Io doing a moonsault from the top of the cage onto Candice and Bianca, they're out. They're not a part. All three of them, they're done. Kaylee Ray's been selling in the corner. Rhea Ripley puts together some chairs, puts a trash can on top of the chairs, and is going to hit her finisher on Shayna Baszler. Kaylee Ray sprints across the ring to do something off the top rope, jumps at Rhea Ripley, who chucks the trash can at Kaylee Ray in the middle of the ring. That was great. Kaylee Ray's out. Then, because she was distracted by that, Shayna gets the Kirifuda clutch on Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley then uses the handcuffs that were put on her earlier in the match by Shayna Baszler. Again, Chekhov's gun. If you put somebody in handcuffs, at some point they're going to be handcuffed to something. I did not think she was going to be handcuffed to Shayna, which allowed her to hit her Riptide on Shayna to get the pin. Basically, like at one point throughout this whole match, it was Shayna versus 4 women. Like, no, it's not Shayna. Rhea versus 4 women. And these are all great women. And Rhea's like, okay, you get out of here, boot to you, trash can to your face. Like Rhea Ripley, booked over the past couple of weeks, is as strong as anything I've ever seen in WWE for women. Like, she went toe-to-toe with Becky Lynch. There's no reason to think she might not have won that match in NXT. Then she pins Charlotte Flair in a triple threat with her and Sasha Banks. Then tonight, she's a damn hero in this match. At that moment, she was the biggest potential star in wrestling. Mm-hmm. She still can be. Don't let this fall by the wayside. The fact that she pinned Shayna Baszler is a very, very good sign. If it leads to her being NXT champion, great. It can lead to so much more than that. Rhea Ripley, it has the charisma and the amazing in-ring ability to stand over Becky Lynch at WrestleMania this coming WrestleMania in April and hold the Raw Women's Championship over her head and be a huge star, because it would Becky Lynch would have put her over. It would have cemented everything. You don't let, like, oh well, she's got a title match versus Shayna and she lost it, and now Rhea Ripley's back in the mid card. Like, don't you dare. She's white hot. You have to push her to the moon right now.
And it's really crazy when you think about just 2.5, close to 3 years ago, when she was in the Mae Young Classic, the Australian girl, all smiles and all, and the transformation she's had since the Mae Young Classic 2 is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's been the best move. And everything is translated perfectly for her since.
Yeah, she's got it. She's got it.
Yep.
And so young, and so young.
Yeah, she's got years to give. Aaron, Jay's fan, left us a super chat, says, "Rest in peace, Team Kick." Yep.
Yeah.
Rob Wilkins also gave us a super chat saying, "Weird but very cool, showing Britt Baker #dentists." You know, if you should have used the proper hashtag, and it was a hashtag she's a dentist, but it's all right. Yeah, we'll get to that a little later, but yeah, it was I don't know how planned it was. I don't know if it was really just like a production flub, just showing someone who's reacting to, oh my God, is Adam Cole dead, without really knowing who that person is? I don't know. Pete Dunne defeated Damian Priest and Killian Dain to earn a title shot tomorrow evening at Survivor Series for the NXT Championship against Adam Cole. This was a good physical power spot match. I dug this a great deal. You have Priest who gets some early strong offense on Killian Dain, but Dunne gets in some of his own as well. Dain dumps Priest to the outside, and Dunne then goes for some joint manipulation on our boy Dain. But Priest then comes back in and forearms both guys down, and his forearms are so good. Killian Dain hits a Michinoku driver. He hits a Michinoku driver on Pete Dunne onto Damian Priest's face, Alex. On his face.
On his face. On the face. Oh, God, it was great.
My God. Dain was on a roll here. He hit a combination Samoan drop fall away slam with both guys at the same time. Dunne then hits a series of great hard-hitting offense that ends with a snap suplex from Dunne on Killian Dain, which was really good. There's all sorts of fantastic stuff. You have Damian Priest hitting a razor's edge on Pete Dunne onto the commentary table. Then Dain topes onto Priest. Then cannonballs onto Priest through the barricade. Then Damian Priest razor's edges Killian Dain off the top rope. Alex, this match felt like I was playing WWF Royal Rumble in 1996, and all I was doing was the big power moves. This was nuts.
This was nuts. It was also it was one of those great triple threat matches where they don't rely on, oh, one guy got hit and he's out of the match for 5 minutes while the other two guys do moves to each other. And whoops, the third guy miraculously came in to break up a pinfall. Then he chucks one other guy in there, and now it's two different guys going at it for 5 minutes. No. These guys were in the ring and outside the ring doing moves to each other, the three of them, over and over again. Occasionally one guy would get like chucked across a table or something, but he'd always recover. Like this was actually a low key great match. Like I did not expect this from these three guys. I thought it was going to be a pretty cool 14-minute match. It was like it went a full 20, and these guys were pulling out all the stops to do great stuff to each other. And Pete Dunne did not look out of place against these two dudes who were much bigger than him.
There's one of the stories, because there were a couple of tales that were being told here. One of them being Damian Priest not knowing what to do to put either guy away, because he was hitting the Falcon arrows, he was hitting the south of heaven. He did everything to try and put the guys away, and he couldn't. There was even this moment where he Frankensteiner's Dunne onto Killian Dain, then hits a pair of cyclone kicks immediately after. And he can't do it because Dain breaks up the pin. And I thought that was a nice touch here to the match. The end comes when Pete Dunne hits the bitter end on Priest, but again, the pin is broken up by Killian Dain, who gets Dunne up onto his shoulders and Dunne then gets a sleeper hold locked in. And then Dain Samoan drops Dunne onto a fallen Damian Priest. Dunne just shoves Dain out of the ring, grabs the legs, covers Priest for the win. I like the ending because, like I said, part of the story here was they're pulling all of their power moves. Nothing is working. Bit of a sneaky win for Dunne, and I think in the context of this story, it worked really well.
Yeah, I was frankly quite surprised to see Dunne win. I thought they were going to push Priest. I didn't think he was going to win versus Adam Cole, but I thought it'd be a really cool, like, heel versus heel with Cole fighting from underneath for some of it. But Pete Dunne deserves this. I mean, he's a great competitor. Yeah. He was the NXT UK champion for I think 6.5 years. So like he's amazing. He like his run in NXT UK was basically like, it's like in the longest title reigns, I think it was like Bruno Sammartino, Pete Dunne. Like, that's how long he held the NXT UK belt. So like, if a miracle happened and he became NXT champion tomorrow, like, he's certainly got the pedigree for it. And they love Pete Dunne. They love that kid. They should. He's also another very young guy. It's cool that he got this win. Him and Adam Cole are going to put it to themselves. They're going to say, tomorrow, in this all this stuff, you got Brock versus Ray and the Fiend versus Daniel Bryan. Let's you and I go out and have the singles match, not all the triple threats and all the giant things, but of those three, champion versus contender. Let's have the best one. I think they got it sewn up in the bag, really, because whatever they're going to do with the Fiend and Daniel Bryan's going to be all kinds of smoke and mirrors. And let's be honest, it's probably just going to be Rey Mysterio wailing on Brock Lesnar for a while with a pipe, and then whoops, F5, whoops, you're pinned, Rey. So I think that Adam Cole and Pete Dunne have a lot to prove, and they're going to prove it tomorrow.
And as we said, when we were talking about it on Wednesday, maybe Damian Priest would have been a good idea because he feels very more main roster-y.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with Pete Dunne getting a big.
I love Pete Dunne. He's fine with me.
Yeah. I'm good with him getting a pay-per-view payday this on Sunday. Was announced that on February 16, that was a Warrenism if you ever heard one. February 16, Takeover Portland is going to be our next stop for the NXT brand as far as pay-per-views go.
That's Oregon?
Yes.
Not Maine?
No, Portland, okay. Oregon.
That's a cool town. I grew up an hour and a half south of there. That's a very cool town. They do love their wrestling up there in the Northwest. It's really cool they're getting a takeover. It's interesting that it appears to be that they're divesting NXT from the Royal Rumble weekend so the best guys from there and girls, I'm assuming, can be in the Royal Rumble without having to have killed themselves the night before. I'm not sure, but it seems odd that they would have one on the 16th and also one the night before the Royal Rumble, but I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. But there was talk of them moving away from the NXT as part of the big weekend stuff. If this is the case, I'm okay with it. I think it's interesting to have them own a weekend again.
Well, it would make sense just in the logic of saying that NXT is indeed a third brand, not the not the developmental brand, not the upcomers. If it is a third brand, and your pay-per-views include your brands, then it would make sense for NXT to show up on your main pay-per-views. Maybe not all of them, but at least the big four. Yeah, it would make sense. Finn Balor defeated Matt Riddle in Finn's first big return to NXT. Love the change to his entrance, Alex, when he used to do his pose, the house lights would come on so that the audience would get in on it. But tonight he did his pose. What happened? Just one shower of light on top of him. Small detail, but he's a heel now, and it's all about the Prince.
Yeah, no, I also enjoyed that. That's the little things that can really change a character.
There's a lot of fun back and forth happening in this match to start off. Finn Balor getting a chance to show off a bit of his grappling chops here. This was a fine match. I love the struggle for Matt Riddle to get a German suplex on Balor. He was doing everything in his power to not get thrown around. You know what I like about Matt Riddle? I like how he's not afraid to play dirty. And this is clearly MMA, his MMA background that he's translating into wrestling. But, he uses the most of his 4 count before breaking a hold. And when he does break a hold, he'll get a shot in. And he's the baby face. And I'm okay with it. I like the fact that he'll let go of the hold. The referee sort of has to pull him off. And as the referee's pulling him off, he'll just give Finn Balor a boot to the head, and just for good measure. I like that.
Yeah, that's I'm fine with that too. I mean, this is the whole thing started because this thing started because Finn attacked Matt Riddle. After the whole thing, they wanted to do one with him and Johnny, but Johnny got hurt, so they had to do something instead. And the way they set up the thing instead was by having Finn attack Matt Riddle for no reason, randomly. So Matt Riddle still pissed at him about that. So I love that Matt holds a grudge. I think he's for being such a chill dude. He's so not chill. I like that.
Absolutely. There's a jackhammer by Matt Riddle, which gets some Riddle chants in the audience, which I thought was hilarious. Balor hits an inverted 1916. There's a GTS by Riddle. The floating bro gets knees, while Riddle avoids the coup de grace, but Finn Balor ends up winning with the straight up 1916 or Bloody Sunday, whatever you want to call it. I guess he's a heel now, so he brings back the nasty finisher. I kind of popped. I liked it. This was a fine match. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing. There was definitely not a match of the year, but a very solid, good match that served its purpose, Alex.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting grappling work, which I've never thought of Finn Balor as being, a grappler, like a chain wrestler. He held his own, but I felt like it was belying who Matt Riddle is. Like Matt Riddle, if you say Matt Riddle, here's what we're gonna do for your match versus Goldberg, you're gonna get in there and you're gonna German suplex Goldberg 15 times, hit a jackhammer, and win. Like if that's what they asked him to do, he would do it, and you believe it because he's incredibly strong. The idea that Matt Riddle is struggling to German suplex 175-pound Finn Balor once is that's not who Matt Riddle is. Like, you could have Finn slither out, but the idea that I just can't get this guy up, that would never happen. So there's ways of building this match that actually utilizes who you have in it in a little better. I think Matt Riddle's incredibly talented. He did what they asked him to do. What they asked him to do was not great. But there was no way Finn was losing this. His first match in NXT, not a chance. It says a lot that they trusted Matt Riddle to have this match with him. They also know Matt Riddle losing to Finn Balor in Finn Balor's first match isn't going to do anything to Matt Riddle's momentum because he's a bona fide star. I think that they're still planning on having a big-time Johnny Gargano versus Finn Balor clash. That's going to be the main thing, and I think you're going to see a longer, more involved, more high-spotty type match between, not high-spot, but big-time moves, comebacks, and stuff like that between Finn and Johnny. This was kind of a placeholder. They had to get Finn on the card, and Matt did his job, and the match there's nothing wrong with it, but Matt Riddle could German suplex Finn Balor into the sun if you wanted to.
And I mean, the match position for its position on the card, it was perfect. It did exactly what it had to do. It was a cool down match. Its job was not to steal the show. It came after the War Games match. I thought that the triple threat coming after the War Games match was very dangerous, but the guys put on a fantastic match. So this was the match where you sort of have to go before we moved into the men's War Game match. And remember, gals and guys, if you want to leave us a question or a comment, super chat it, and I'll read it on air. So let's get into it. The big one, main event, Team Ciampa defeated Team Undisputed Era in the men's War Game match, with Tommaso Ciampa coming out with Kratos face paint, the God of War himself. And when Ciampa comes out, he just walks straight out, takes his mask off so he can reveal his face paint, and just hits the ring. No discussion with Dijak, nothing with Lee. They all figured it out in the back like pros, instead of chatting amongst themselves like, no, I'm starting. And everyone's like, that's cool. He just hits the ring, and we don't know who the fourth person is on the team, Alex. The match just starts.
Yeah, I understand that they wanted to save it for the thing, but the idea that I mean, I think that the match begins. The actual match, I know, begins with all four of each team are in there. But the match begins when everybody else is in the cage. Like, if the guy's not in the cage, then that guy's not part of the match. I mean, I feel like that's just the way it's got to work. But I understand why they did it. I'm okay with it. But you establish the rules, then you break them. I got to call you out on it. That's just the way I work.
And were the officials briefed on this beforehand? Because they have to give the signal. But they were looking around. They were looking behind. They were going, is there someone else? No. Well, we'll just lock up the cage and go. Maybe that is how they were briefed. Maybe Regal told them, look, if no one comes, you just start the match and you lock them up. You lock up who's there and you start the match. Maybe that's how they're briefed. Hopefully not. Roderick Strong decides that he's taken over for Undisputed Era. Like, he just goes,
like Cole was about to do. He's like, no,
I'll do it.
No, Adam, I got this. Yeah. Because he's Roderick Strong, and he's a white knight for all of his buddies. I love it.
And he's such a dork. He's such a
dork. He's such a great
He's coming down to the ring, and you can hear the camera pick him up, and he said, "You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it, Ciampa. You're gonna get it." And I'm like, he's such an adorable nerd.
Yeah, he really is.
He tries so hard, and I really feel like he's leaning into that character, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, it's great.
So Ciampa goes in with some real hard strikes at first, but Roderick Strong gets out of the fairy tale ending and a fairy tale ending attempt with a double knee gutbuster, and that really turns the tide early on in the match. Kyle O'Reilly is next in, and he goes right in for some classic groundwork. Roderick hits those running forearms while Kyle O'Reilly is holding Ciampa against the top rope, which is just, it's such a fantastic spot. He must have hit like 8 or 9 of them consecutively. I love that spot. And then they just start ganging up on Ciampa. Ciampa just crumbles, and they start picking at him. It's fantastic. Dijak is next, and I'm going down the Sean Ross Sapp route. I'm calling him Dijak, moving forward until they shorten his name to something else. He starts striking Kyle O'Reilly down onto his back. He hits a launching suplex on Kyle O'Reilly onto Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong chops Dominik Dijak, who no-sells it, which is a big deal because, we talk about Walter's chops. We even talk about Tyler Bates' chops. We don't talk enough about Roderick Strong's chops. Let's not forget, it is Roderick Strong's chopping of Daniel Bryan's chest that turned it into hamburger and got infected. So Daniel Bryan wasn't clear to wrestle for like a week or two after that.
Yep.
So we have Kyle O'Reilly bouncing off the ropes into forearms by Dijakovic over and over again. That was a fun spot. He's just bouncing off of the ropes, and Dijak just keeps forearming him back, and he bounces off. It's so classic. I think we need to take a moment here to talk about Kyle O'Reilly, how fantastic he is as a wrestler. But here's a guy who understands that very, very delicate balance between being a very serious, competitive wrestler and the comedy over the top stuff. He knows perfectly how to balance it. There's another guy who comes to mind who's able to do that. His name is Chris Jericho.
Yeah, sure.
And O'Reilly in the ring, coming down to the ring, doing the air guitar, the facial expressions. But by God, when it's time to turn it up, O'Reilly is all business.
Kyle O'Reilly is an absolute goofball. And I believe that he could kick me hard enough in the back of my knee that I would die 11 days later from internal bleeding. Like, he's nuts in the ring, but he's also a complete goofball. And I love both of those sides to him, and I love that they exist in a delicate balance. He's really, really, really special. Like, he really is. I don't think he's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure he could do it if they asked him to, but I don't know that his ceiling is anything above like maybe a singles mid-card champ at some point. But I don't know if that maybe a singles mid-card champ is even a higher ceiling than member of one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Sure.
Like that's probably higher than maybe a one-time US champ at some point. But if you ask him to do whatever you want, like Kyle O'Reilly, do this. He's like, I will do that, and I will do it at a 9.5 out of 10 quality because he's really, really great. Really great.
Robert Poisson is next in, and he kicks Ciampa and Dijak down. He hits or Roderick Strong hits a rope-assisted double underhook backbreaker on Ciampa, which was really good. There's a chasing the dragon that happens next, and then Keith Lee hits the ring. He double leapfrogs Kyle O'Reilly and Fish, and then hits a double cross body on both of them. Then he slingshot body presses himself onto O'Reilly and Fish again. It actually took all three members of the Undisputed Era in the ring to take Keith Lee down. We're talking a lot about the push that the rub that Adam Cole is getting over the past couple of weeks. Morrow even called him Mr. November tonight. Rhea Ripley as well. Keith Lee's getting some shine here. Up against face to face with Braun Strowman last night on SmackDown that's not insignificant.
No, certainly not. Keith Lee, I mean, unless, he seemed to be one of the guys who made it out relatively unscathed from the match tonight. So I'm assuming he'll probably be on Team NXT tomorrow, and they owe us an actual confrontation between Keith Lee and Braun Strowman in the match tomorrow night, which hopefully builds to another confrontation in the Royal Rumble between Keith Lee and Braun Strowman, where they eliminate each other from the Royal Rumble. And then at WrestleMania, instead of Braun Strowman like bench pressing Saturday Night Live members, he'll actually have an awesome knockdown, drag out Hoss battle with Keith Lee in the undercard of WrestleMania, and that will be my match of the night. I love Keith Lee. I think it's amazing the way they're presenting him. They kind of like he showed up and he was like kind of there. Like he had some matches, he lost some matches, but he's white hot now too, and you can really push him. I feel like it might be a cool thing to like have the UEs all of their reigns end on the same night. Like a clean sweep where they all get pushed out of the top spots in the company. And the guy I think to beat Roderick Strong should be Keith Lee. I think that'd be a kind of cool, I think he'd be a great North American champion and a lot of cool guys you could have matches with that are right there positioned to have matches with.
Yeah, I agree. Adam Cole is out next and he gets the tables. He even sets one out on the up on the outside, which is odd concerning the rules, but he still gets drilled through it by Tommaso Ciampa just as he's trying to get into the ring. And then they're all in the ring. There's a standoff. And the fourth man appears after some suspense. Alex. It's Kevin Owens. And he comes out, Alex. And the place comes unglued.
Yep.
I think this year, aside from Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out at Madison Square Garden this year, I don't think I heard a louder pop in a WWE arena.
No, the Allstate Arena the pop was so loud they tore a hole in the space-time continuum. Like that was nuts. They love him very much, as they should. He's an NXT god. He was there for a very, very short time and was a monster the whole time he was there. And in my opinion, never really used properly on the main roster. That's why
maybe aside from the Jericho friendship, I would agree.
Yeah, yes, I would. That interplay was great, but he was the U.S. Champion for a lot of that, and like ran from dudes. He was scared of people.
No,
like Kevin Owens.
He was Universal Champion.
Yeah, I understand he was Universal. That's what I meant. Universal Champion at the time. But he was like, he would have feuds with the guys where he would like run away from them. Like he would always like win matches via like Jericho interfering. Like Kevin Owens, the guy in NXT, wasn't scared of anybody. Like you put any 4 guys in the ring with Kevin Owens, like, I'm going to murder each and every one of you. I'm going to murder you and make you 3 watch. Then I'm going to murder the 3 of you at the same time. That's who Kevin Owens was in NXT. And at the main roster, because they book heels like chicken shits, no matter who they are, that's what they did. So that's why Triple H's promo to Kevin Owens resonated so much with all of us who love Kevin Owens and want him to be something special. And that's why him showing up tonight gives us the possibility that Kevin Owens listened to that promo and said, you're right, I'm coming back to NXT. And if he's on Team NXT tomorrow, if he's jumped ship from Raw to NXT, this will all be worth it. However, if he's on Team Raw tomorrow night, and this was all for one thing just because, then it's stupid and anticlimactic and also stupid.
Well, regardless, he's here. They kind of what I liked is that they very subtly teased it on Monday, with Triple H trying to get him over to their side and Undisputed Era attacking. He wasn't part of the Raw attack last night on SmackDown. So it makes sense. I get what you're saying. We'll see what happens tomorrow evening ultimately. But all of this makes sense to me. There's a lot of high-flying spots, especially from the bigger guys. There's at some point, Adam Cole tries to hit a Panama Sunrise on Kevin Owens, and it didn't quite work out as they wanted. Sort of turned out to be like more of a sunset bomb, but okay. Strong hits an Olympic slam off the second turnbuckle with Keith Lee on his shoulders. That was fantastic. I love that Kevin Owens teased the package pile driver, and that he even pulled out his some sleeper suplexes, stuff he doesn't get to use all that much on main. That was really nice. But let's just go right in. Let's do it. Everyone is dead in the ring because Kevin Owens hit a frog splash onto Kyle O'Reilly, who was on a table holding on to Dominik Dijak via armbar. So they all died there.
Dijak had previously chokeslammed Roderick Strong off the top rope through a table.
Correct.
So Strong's out of the way.
Keith Lee powerbomb Bobby Fish from the second turnbuckle through a table. And then Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa are up on top of the cage. Tommaso Ciampa clasps onto Adam Cole and starts to stand up full, straight. And the first thing that comes into my mind is, please don't die. They set themselves up. And Tommaso Ciampa hits an air raid crash off the top of the cage on Adam Cole through a table. Falls on top of him, gets the pin. I'm going to lead into your comments here with a super chat from Shamik Scheider. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It says, I'm late getting here, but why did Cole have to be the one to take that spot? How is he supposed to wrestle tomorrow? The floor is yours, Mr. Pulowski.
Well, I mean, if you watch it, Tommaso Ciampa and both he and Cole are consummate pro wrestlers. They know how to do this stuff. It's always dangerous, but if you watch the way Ciampa does it, he's got Cole's cradled up against him. He lands really, really well through those two tables, right in the middle of the tables. Like, Ciampa could not have positioned that fall better. it's an incredibly ill-advised spot. With all the time being invested into Cole recently, he's your champion. This isn't for the title.
And not just Cole. Tommaso Ciampa just came back from neck surgery. His neck is reconstructed.
Like, with Ciampa's injury history, that's one. Two is the fact that Adam Cole is your champion of your entire company, your entire brand. He's got a championship defense tomorrow night. And this isn't for the title. So it wouldn't be like if Ciampa pins him and, Adam Cole's got 6 broken ribs, you can't just go, well, now Ciampa's the title and we'll just keep Cole off TV for a while. The whole thing was ill-advised. It was done as safely as it possibly could have been and executed to perfection. I would not have signed off on it were I the person saying, signing off on things. But the fact that they did it perfectly, maybe it means it's okay. This sets up perfectly Tommaso Ciampa to being the one who's going to come after Goldie. That was the thing they were going to do before War Games anyway. This is him getting the pinfall on Adam Cole in War Games. Makes perfect sense. You move on from there. That spot was insane.
This is the kind of spot that they are going to play over and over again.
Oh.
This is one where 10 years from now, we are going to be retro reviewing this, and we're going to be saying this is the War Games where Ciampa air raid crashed Cole through a table off of the cage, off of the War Games cage. This is one of those moments. And as you said, this is not something that could have been done with just about anyone. I don't know who signs off either, but let's assume it's Triple H. You can rest assured that there were very hefty discussions that were done here to make sure that this was done safely. And no one in the company would have let this one go had it not been for those two guys executing it. Yep. I mean, we even cut to Britt Baker in the audience, as we were talking about earlier, who's covering her face, and she's not playing. She's not playing a character because she's not supposed to be on TV. She's legitimately concerned, like all of us were. Let's be completely honest. We know wrestling is predetermined. They look out for each other, but you're falling like 20 odd feet through a table onto a very, very hard surface nonetheless, despite the cushioning and the springs that might be there. Hats off to them to put the air and the crash in Air Raid Crash tonight. It was a fantastic spot and a great match to a great show, Alex. I really liked this from top to bottom. I think it was perfectly paced, well booked. Every match served its purpose. We had story, We had drama. I really liked it.
Yeah. We also had breaking news during our podcast. They've announced who the Women's Survivor Series team is.
Please, Alex, break us some news. Put on your Jeremy Lambert hat and break some news for us.
I see the little thing that says press right here in the band of the hat.
We should get that for Jeremy. He needs one of those.
We should, yeah. It's Rhea Ripley, obviously. Candice. And they are joined by Io and Bianca. So people that Rhea Ripley just tried to murder tonight, she says, I want you on my team. I guess she says, I respect you because you're really good. I could see Rhea being like, hey, I'm going to try and murder you again on Wednesday, but on Sunday, back me up here because I know you're really good. I don't love it, but we knew Tegan and Dakota weren't going to be on her team, and nor Mia. And the 5th member is Toni Storm, which makes sense from a storyline standpoint. However, they're pulling Toni from a Progress show that she was going to do tomorrow. A sold-out Progress show in England she was going to do tomorrow where she was going to face Ginny. I think Ginny. So that's great.
Well, okay. Look, we're going to have an opportunity, at least I'm going to have an opportunity to talk about it tomorrow on the Survivor Series post show. And you're probably going to be talking about it on Sour Graps as well. So we'll save that for tomorrow. Yeah. This was a great show. Had a good time. And that'll wrap it up on our end. Alex, do you want to let people know really quickly where they can find you this week?
You can follow me at Alex Sour Graps on the Twitter. And I have 2 shows every week on FightfulSelect.com.
Subscribe to Fightful Select. You'll get Alex's admittedly negative reviews of WWE programming, but that's the gimmick. It's fine. And you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes or on my YouTube channel at Mr. Warren Hayes. I'll be back tomorrow with Sean Ross Sapp to talk about Survivor Series after the proceedings. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and we'll see you next time.